All right. Looks like we're live, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, uh, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to Idea Factory for that wonderful show. That was awesome. We are here now looking at Fallen Legion. This is actually the Fallen Legion 2-pack. It's going to be Rise to Glory and Revenants. I'm Justin. I'm with the marketing team at NISA, and I am joined by Spencer from YummyYummyTummy. Spencer, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey.
I'm Spencer. I'm the director, producer, designer, programmer of the Fallen Legion games.
Right on. And we have our lovely capture specialist Brian playing the Fallen Legion games for us while we chat about it. So Brian, go ahead and kick it off. And Spencer, let's go ahead and talk about Fallen Legion.
Yeah, I think.
We're playing Rise to Glory right now. This is actually a compilation of the first two Fallen Legion games that were made. And there are two different stories here. We have one story with Princess Cecile in Sins of an Empire, where she's rushing back home to claim the crumbling empire of Phenubia. And then we have the a parallel quote story where there's a legate who's trying to fight to overthrow her. And I think Brian's playing one of the levels right now, the Legate story that was not in the original PS4 version. This was something new that we made when we started working with NIS for the Switch version, for the Rise to Glory compilation. So this is a new level with an extra boss that hasn't been seen that much. And that's right, we also have new characters too that are coming from Revenants. So Alistair, who's a new exemplar that we made for Revenants, is joining Rise to Glory as a playable character. And we built him from scratch.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been quite some time since even Revenants, which was the last we're kind of seeing this great sort of 2-pack of Rise to Glory for anyone who might have missed it, and then Revenants for anyone who might have even missed that just a couple years ago. So with this collection, Spencer, aside from adding in new content and kind of giving new players a chance to try it, what were some of your maybe goals or aims with bringing both of these together?
Well, it's definitely great to bring the games to a new audience. I mean, we never brought them to Xbox before, and I think we haven't brought Revenants to PC before, so it's going to be really cool to see new players try out these games. I mean, every time when I work, I go back and try to add in new content or polish it up. Like something new that you might... There are monster voices as an extra sound cue to let you know when enemies are going to attack. That's something new that we programmed in. In addition, we also have some new illustrations to tell the story, to highlight some key points in the story that I wanted to add in originally from working on, but we just weren't able to do in time. So I back and said, hey, it'd be really cool to highlight these certain story segments. We need some new illustrations for that too. It's always fun to add new characters. Like programming the designs is always a blast.
Mm-hmm. Right on. So, just for those who might be new to either of the Fallen Legion titles, maybe you'd like to kind of go over what we're seeing right now with this kind of really awesome-looking kind of action here.
Yeah, I think there are two parts to Fallen Legion. Right? Like one part is like really intense combat where you're attacking and defending at the same time. The game kind of has like a turn-based system where each exemplar has their own action points, and they recover independently, and each character is also controlled through their own button. But in between these battles, you're also making these key decisions for the Legate or Cecile, and these decisions change like the story route that you see, and there are a lot of decision points you're going to make in the game. And while you make these decisions, you also have to decide between like risk rewards. Like, do I want to take a really powerful buff now, but I might upset an ally, or what's your stance on an issue? So you're going to be making a lot of decisions that can affect the game. I think that kind of like both intense combat and intense decision making is like the soul of like Fallen Legion game.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot about sort of catering your gameplay experience to the particular choices you make, whether it's story choices or even choices in combat, like who you bring into battle, what sort of tactics you like to use in battle.
Yeah, totally. I think like Brian has right now like an all Malay character party. He has Zulfikar, who's a good tank, and Chaos Long is also like a good tank. But they're also like there are also different characters who are faster characters, like Alistair, who's faster but more fragile, and we have some projectile characters too that have different advantages of like what enemies they can target or what special abilities they have that they can bring into battle. So this is Alarune, one of the bosses that we added for the Switch version that's not been seen before on PlayStation, or and definitely not on Xbox since the game hasn't been here before. She has this like combo where she uses this combine with attack that you need to block, and blocking is really important. Brian's doing a killer job blocking right now. Like when you block an attack, you gain all your AP back, so you can like counterattack, but you also take 0 damage, so there's a lot of timing involved. And wow, Brian's totally crushing this boss, making it much easier than it seems. Also, like if you break the boss and you get them in this weak state, you can kind of go ham on them and rush them down for a couple seconds with unlimited AP. And like Brian's just tore through this boss.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like sort of a skill expression with this, even though it might not be obvious by looking at just how fast he killed that boss. Yeah. So things like guarding and breaking and managing like your cooldowns and things like that.
Yeah, one of the key points in like Rise to Glory is getting your attacks lined up in a row. So if you can have uninterrupted attacks for 5 times in a row, like Brian can do a death blow, which is like a really super powerful attack. But if you're interrupted at any time, then your attack will cancel out, and you'll have to restart that combo. Well, why don't we take a look at some of the new illustrations for in Rise to Glory?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Brian, if you could bring those up.
Yeah. So this is one of the cool scenes that we have here, where Cecile is with this talking grimoire, who's been secretly guiding her and the king of Numia for years, and now she learns of its secret, and she's going on this quest to collect souls for the grimoire. And this is when the grimoire consumes her first soul. And so we added some new illustrations like this with one of the original artists from Rise to Glory, and and you'll see these like throughout the Cecile on the Legate.
These are gorgeous, really beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's really cool too, also to go back to take some of the art techniques that we learned from Revenants and apply those into Rise to Glory, because there's so much learning that's been going on, and through the process of making this, this Fallen Legion was the first console game ever from Indonesia, and like the leaps and bounds that we were able to make from developing the first one to the second one, and learning some of those techniques and putting those techniques back to Rise to Glory was a lot of fun.
Wow, I actually didn't know it came from Indonesia. That's really cool, and these are great. And it's we're kind of looking at maybe sort of the best version of these Fallen Legion games in a way with this kind of double release.
Totally, yeah. Should we check out Revenants?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead to some Revenants gameplay. So some of our fans might actually recall Revenants. We released that semi-recently, maybe a year or two back. So for anyone who might not be familiar with, both titles, in earnest, when going to Revenants, what are some of the maybe standout differences compared to Rise to Glory?
There are a lot of differences in Revenants. Like one of the things is that we changed the battle system, so there's like this tactical grid system. So in Rise to Glory, your characters would kind of automatically move. Now you can position your stuff on this grid, and the enemies are also on a grid. So some of the strategy is that you'll be moving back and forth on the grid to dodge attacks, and then also to knock enemies into positions and hit them with even more powerful death blows. There's also like the decision-making section now is its own style of gameplay. Like you control Lucian here, and you'll be making decisions and talking to characters with this timer on top. So right now, Lucian is inside the castle Welkin, which is about to crash to the ground. And Lucian, or the player as Lucian, needs to make key decisions about what Lucian's going to do. Like who's he going to help with this like limited time that he has. And so that's something new that we really wanted to expand upon for Revenants, because like in the decision part was kind of in the background. Awesome. For Rise to Glory.
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually going to comment on that sort of the two distinct sort of gameplay mechanics, decision making in and out of combat, they're much more like distinct and separated. It's where you have I think Rowena here is leading the combat, and Lucian away from combat is leading the sort of
exactly right. That's what we did. We have these two characters that are reluctantly working together towards the same goal to create Welkin, like this like floating castle in the sky.
And kind of to add on to decision-making aspect with Lucian, kind of an aspect in Revenants is that he also gets to do some about how that works.
There are parts where Lucian will sneak around the castle. Sometimes you can do this to gain extra items. Sometimes you need to do this to free one of your allies from jail. And when you're sneaking around to the castle, like there's this like 2D style stealth gameplay where you walk around, you can hear guards walking towards you. They can quickly sneak behind a pillar to avoid getting caught. That was a really fun style of gameplay to make.
But a lot of the kind of core sort of mechanics and skills from Rise to Glory sort of represent themselves here, would you say? So things like guarding and managing your cooldowns and having those attacks line up, sort of that same skill expression comes out in this title.
Totally. In the battle part, yeah, I think a lot of like the watching the enemies attack, being able to block and attack at the same time is similar. One difference though is for the death blows, you don't have the type of like chain meter for that. The chain meter works in a different way where you can chain your characters together to get more mana, and you use mana to execute death blows. So it's actually possible to have like to really unleash like a combo of death blows on enemies. So you can push an enemy into one spot and then like summon a whole bunch of tornadoes and like wipe them out really quickly, which is different from Rise to Glory where there's usually a death blow is like a combo finisher. Yeah, like just like what Brian did in the stream, where he just like unleashed like multiple death blows in a row.
That's really cool, and you kind of have that sort of instant feedback, like, or that kind of instant payoff once you get that kind of mechanic down. Both these titles really seem to reward kind of learning that in those intrinsic little steps and those intrinsic little gameplay mechanics. So this is really kind of cool to see play out here. This is kind of the potential of what your gameplay could look like once you learn these mechanics.
Totally, and that's kind of like one of the souls of the Fallen Legion games too, is that we want to have this feeling of like a fighting game with like a JRPG style turn-based system, and kind of like merging those two styles of gameplay together.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite between the two games, or do you like them both equally?
Oh man, like it's like choosing between my children or something. I'm really proud of what we were able to do for both of the games, and like I'm really happy with the team that we got to like execute a lot of the goals that we had in mind with our visions for both these games, and I think that's like the best part about it. And these games were made at different times, and we had different goals with them. I'm really glad we were able to do that. I think like we just saw before, like Brian was actually making a decision with two of Lucian's allies and deciding like who to save, and like those characters were kind of like wounded on the ground. So like you can talk with them, and you can, if depending on like your relationship with them too, is like how injured they'll actually be in the game. So if you have a stronger relationship with them, it was easier to save them too. It's a little secret about that.
Yeah. How about I know you can't choose between the two games, but how about some of your favorite exemplars? Because there's actually quite a few exemplar characters in this series.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters. I guess my favorite characters are always the monster characters. It's like the characters that most people will wonder, like, why is this character in the game? And probably the answer is like, I think playing monsters is cool. For Rise to Glory, actually, there's a secret character who's like a wyvern in the game, and like when that character was in the game, it was really just because one night I wanted to surprise a team, and I programmed him in as a playable character. Everyone was like, "Oh, whoa, you can play as the wyvern." And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "This is actually really fun. Like this character should be in the game."
Yeah.
So he's probably my favorite character just because like it's really like the monster characters play so much precision. I designed them to be more like high risk, high reward characters if you get the timing right with them.
Yeah. Actually, since we're on the subject of secrets, definitely no spoilers, but even just, Revenants alone, even maybe across both games with this collection, there's plenty of secrets. It's endings, scenarios, characters apparently. I didn't even know you had secret characters. There's definitely a lot to look forward to. I guess without giving a spoiler, aside from the Wyvern character, is there a secret
secrets, and I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the older games where there's a lot to discover. Like, and so when we're designing and we were designing, I made sure to put lots of secret characters in, both Rise to Glory and Revenants. I hope people get a chance to find them and discover them. Especially with the way the story branches work, like I think Brian right now is actually choosing a major story branch here. They decide who to help, but the different, you can see different story segments that you wouldn't usually see, and those are kind of secrets on their own too. Oh no, poor Nigel.
Oh no. Since we're on the subject of, throw out a number there. How many endings would you say there are in just Revenants alone?
Oh my god. Many. I think what I hope people will discover is the surprise of like when an ending can appear. But let's say over 20.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot. I mean, I think like one of the things is in Rise to Glory, like we weren't able to put in multiple endings, but we had lots of story routes. In Revenants, we wanted to double down on like how many endings we could put in the game. And as we keep, there's like Jeffrey, who's the narrative director, and I, we kept writing the story out. We kept thinking of interesting ending points where the game could end, and we just kind of wrote those down on post-its. All right, maybe the game could end here, and then we decided to turn a lot of those into actual endings.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like Brian has reached kind of a big boss for Revenants. I think there's something particularly special about this fight. You want to kind of go over what's going on here?
Yeah, so one of the things is like we always like to have some really big bosses. So this is the Gallows Tree, and here this boss actually is going to test your precision of like where you can aim. So you can use the right analog stick to take your long range characters like Winchester, who's new area, and aim at the innocent, this girl spellcaster that's summoned by this Gallows Tree. If you can target that girl spellcaster, it reduces other soldiers called so you need to block their aiming, precisely aiming your attacks to so Galaxy's defenses and come in and rush them. Just like what Brian has right now. So now the Galaxy's open, you can kind of go ham on for a little bit and like blast it with death blows and your special attacks. And we made a lot of improvements to Revenants 2 with the Crimson Rose patch. Like we added multiple difficulty levels. We went back to revise a lot of the boss fights. We added new fusion systems to further upgrade your characters, and all that content is going to be in the PS5 and Xbox release from day one.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I do recall with Revenants, we good content. So that'll actually come with this stuff back then.
Yeah, we also like basically that we put in Japanese voice acting, adding in the new death blows from Crimson Rose. All those updates will be in from day one in the compilation.
Oh, fantastic!
Nice work, Brian.
Yeah, very awesome.
You make it look so easy.
Yeah, like don't let it deceive you. It is a game about skill expression, so you can get some very rewarding results when you master the system like Brian has here. That was awesome.
It's really cool to see Brian master like both the defense and like how he's aiming at the right target to really take down the Galaxy quickly. It's really cool to see that come into play.
Yeah. Wow, he kind of whipped those bosses faster than I expected.
Yeah, especially like I think like the bosses can be a point where it's like this is like every boss in Revenants is designed to kind of like test one new ability that we've been focusing on for the chapter, and like in this chapter was really about aiming. In the Alaroon earlier was really about blocking from different angles. So it's really cool to see Brian has like mastered both of those skills at such a proficient level.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah. Please.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just say, yeah. So like Winchester, who's new for Revenants, actually came from Rise to Glory, and she's a character that Kira Buckland voiced. And it was when Kira was voicing another character in Revenants, Catherine. We kind of just I just kind of mentioned to Kira that I was like, well, maybe one day we can bring your character back. So It's like it was really awesome to work with you again. So we just recorded some extra voices just in case we had a chance to do it. And it's really cool to bring Winchester back. She's one of my favorite characters in Rise to Glory because she has like these rapid fire attacks. She's also more of like a high risk, high reward character. This is kind of the style that I like to play as.
Nice, and we can look forward to. I think you said there might be a couple new voice lines for just this collection, so we can definitely look forward to that segment. But yeah, thank you so much, Spencer, for joining us. And from here, we're going to transition. Who will take to Disgaea 6?
Thanks for having me, Justin, and thanks for playing, Brian. And we'll see you later.
All right.
No problem, guys.
Alrighty, are we live, everybody? Get some Disgaea 6 complete going.
That's good.
I'm just going to go ahead and start off with an introduction here. My name is Gina, also from the marketing team here at NIS America, and I am here with Steve, who is from our localization team. And if you have not met Steve before, he is the Disgaea master, god of Disgaea. So Steve, I'll let you kind of go ahead and introduce yourself if you'd like.
Yes. So I'm Steve. I've pretty much done all the Disgaea since Disgaea 2. And
yeah.
Yeah.
He's seriously the Disgaea master. So we're gonna get started here real quick, and I think that the first thing we kind of want to talk about is going to be just the game movements that have happened between Disgaea 6 Defiant to Disgaea 6 Complete. Do you want to go ahead and kind of list between these two?
Well, the main thing is that we've included all of the DLC characters and recolors and like items that were for sale on the Switch version. They're included right off the bat in the base version of this game.
Yeah, which is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like what, like 12 characters? It's a lot.
Yeah, there's 12 characters in total. 4 of them were free with the Switch for our version, so there's 8 more that you get in the base game right off the bat in the complete version.
Right. And so that's cool on its own. And then also we have the higher resolution and frame rates as well. And then for those of you that decide to get Disgaea 6 Complete for PS4, you can also get that free upgrade for your copy for Disgaea 5, or excuse me, PS5 as well. So the free PS4 to PS5 upgrade, which is super nice. Moving on from that, I see we're here at HQ just hanging out, so we can kind of go ahead and demonstrate one of the cool features of Disgaea 6, which is going to be the juice bar. Welcome to the juice bar. And then, Steve, if you want to kind of take everybody through the juice bar, what it is, what makes it unique, all that good stuff, that'd be awesome.
So the juice bar was at pretty much it allows you to kind of boost your characters through like while you play you'll end up getting these extracts that can boost characters in various ways. You can pretty much boost all of their individual stats by spending these extracts, and you can also, I believe, get the improve your karma as well, so that when you super reincarnate, you'll be able to get even more gains when you start over at level 1 again. And yeah, you can also you can get like EXP extracts also, so you can level up right away. It'll
kind of nice. It all falls into place.
Yeah, they make it super easy to advance your characters.
Right.
So it helps with the grind. You don't have to grind manually as much in this
Totally.
game.
Because yeah, there can definitely be a lot of grinding. So that's a nice little what is it? It's a nice little improvement. I was going to say speaking of characters, pretty high. Should we go to talk about the super high level system?
Yeah, so they pretty much expanded everything. So before you could level up to 9,999. Now they've made it so that you can get up to 99,999,999. So
I literally had to count all the nines. I was like, how many nines are in that?
so they've vastly expanded the cap on everything. Now you can get up to like the quadrillions and possibly even the quintillions of damage. When before it was
That's a lot of
usually
numbers.
before I think it was like around the trillion. So everything
Yeah, totally.
is a lot more.
It's bigger, it's better, it's Disgaea.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's see, what else do we have to chat about on that as well? Levels, those are huge numbers. So like, how does that affect your how are those, high levels, like when you're starting out at such a high level, how does that affect your gameplay?
Well, the thing is, some of the enemies can also be pretty high level, so it kind of balances out. But you will definitely like find ways to like take advantage of the high levels that you can get. But
Sure.
there's like every player will find their own strategies on how in the game that increase stats and stuff like that. So that's the joy of Disgaea is
Absolutely. Well, since we've, been talking about these high levels and also have off those super cool high level moves.
To go. Here I go!
it was
It looks like we that issues, so we'll go ahead and jump into battle, kind of minimize the time.
for my students. Give me strength! I'll give you a taste of hell!
Better start packing! Ready for this?
You guys might notice here, but Brian's going to go ahead and transfer into another feature that Disgaea 6 complete, the auto battle feature.
The rhythm of my song! Things are starting to get fun! It ends here! Let me know when you're ready.
Righty, guys. Well, we're back at HQ, so we're going to take a second here and preview a couple other cool things that we have here for Disgaea 6, which is going to be the recolors of all the fan favorite characters. There's quite a few recolors for each character, and so we'll take a moment here to show those guys off. Steven, is it correct that each character should have 4 recolors?
Well, the fourth ones are all the from the DLC. So there should be, I think, 12 characters that have that 4th color.
Nice.
So it's all characters in the story. All Etna, Flan, and also we have Asagi, Plenaire, and Usalia.
Awesome. And then this is, of course, all included in the base for Disgaea, correct?
So you get a few nice color options if you don't want them to look like the standard.
Yeah, you can always jazz it up.
Right. Exactly.
Some recolors, some level battle, and some super to wrap this stream up. I know we have some you guys for hanging in there with us. Show must go on, right? Thank you, Steve, for being here. Thank you, Brian. And we'll see you guys all next time.
Thank you.